So how's everything, Taylor?
Good so far. Well, I just had a couple of questions on
Okay.
what we should be really including in this project. Like, I'm going through everything on Owanda, like talking about like types of market errors and little
Okay.
signals, like the hammer and hanging man signals on the market and everything else.
Okay. Okay.
But I guess I'm just confused about what you want a spreadsheet on.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Wanda. So Wanda is a platform, right? Yes. It's a professional platform. However, it does give you opportunity to have free access to it, which is what I'm looking for you to do. And I would like you to familiarize yourself with this platform. That's the objective. And doing it by several ways. First of all, by monitoring what's happening in the FX market in those currency pairs that you choose. So you're going to choose some currency pairs, 4, 6, whatever, right? The number. And you're going to see what's happening for the 8 weeks that we're going to be here, right? So, I don't know, the euro dollar. Oh, now it's, it used to be a week ago, it was at parity. Now it's at 1.02. When we started, it was even at 1.05. You could have a reading, or maybe 1 week before we started, whatever, yes. So, yeah. That's one thing. So the spreadsheet would be a spreadsheet of all this information, all this data of your currency pairs and where they've been fluctuating, right? Yes. Then what I would like you to do is create a narrative, create a situation, a role that you are fulfilling, so that this whole thing becomes a little bit more interesting. So for instance, you are, I don't know, a day trader in the FX, a speculator. That's one role. Or you are a treasurer in a corporation and you are in charge of the FX strategy. You need to place some hedges, therefore. You need to, we'll talk about what's a hedge, right? Yes, you probably know, but I'll reiterate. Or you are, again, within the corporation, not just specific hedges, but rather, maybe you're the accounting department and you have some translation problems. In other words, your FX risk isn't as much, or aside even more than your transactional, right? From each and every one transaction that has an FX component. Therefore, you have an FX risk that what's FX risk? You say, yes, good question. So let's say that you were an exporter, right? You were exporting widgets, right? Made in the United States. What do you want to be?
Well, I was thinking maybe like some sort of risk analyst.
Okay, risk analyst. Risk analyst. Okay, yes.
Yeah, risk analyst. Right.
So you are providing on a subscription basis, right? FX risk analysis, or the financial analysis, or you provide information, right? You're one of those like Bloomberg, or even a smaller. Or whatever, bring Bloomberg, right? And what do? They sell subscriptions, right? That's part of their money, right? Part of a lot of the, it's called software service as on a subscription basis. That's a whole business model, right? That's a lot of money. Anyway, so let's say you're one of those folks. So what are you doing? Well, you're selling these subscriptions. Oh, how much are you selling, let's say, to Germany? Oh, we're selling 100 million euros worth of subscriptions. Fantastic, good job, given the situation. the circumstance, or your revenue stream or at a zero, and your Google or something, anywhere, or 2, 3 zeros, but you get the picture. So what's happening now? Well, this month we were hoping to get, and we still have, 100 million euros worth of subscriptions.
Mhm. Okay.
How much money, how much US dollars do we have?
Mhm. Oh, so you also want us to like
To create a narrative. That's what I'm trying to do now, to create a narrative. So, and with which you will understand what the FX risk is, and you will create, therefore, some hedging from it, and show me that you get it. You get it. That's what this segment of the financial markets are. So, again, you were selling these subscription to information. You were selling out another Bloomberg terminal in Germany, or maybe even into just a small part of Germany, you name it, and you were collecting, or you were planning, and you still get 100 million euros worth of subscriptions. Great. So how much US dollars were you getting last year when the euro was at 1.2? 1.2, so $1. So 1 euro was $1.2. Therefore, you were getting 120 million US dollars worth. How many US dollars are you making now?
well,
100 million at parity, right? Or 100, 1 million US, or 2, right? Because the exchange rate is at 1.02. So in other words, you lost, in essence, in terms of revenue, even though the operation is exactly the same, right? You lost a 20% thereabout profit margin from your bottom line. When you see it, of course, in US dollars, but this is where you're operating. This is where you're paying the payroll, this is where you're paying the expenses. Yes, you have that market. Yes, you're selling in this or the other country. So you have this FX risk, right, Taylor?
Okay,
You
so
have this FX risk. So you're going to create a narrative like that. Right, go ahead. You had a question.
I just want to make sure like I have this right then.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be doing this from the point of view of a risk analyst in my case.
Okay.
I analyze the currencies that I chose to look at.
Yes.
And I just put the fluctuations on a spreadsheet, and I go over the risk that I determine each week.
Yes. And therefore, since you are identifying the risk, you also need to identify what sort of hedges. Right? You're a risk analyst, so therefore or what your recommendation would be. When you're saying a risk analyst, fine. Are you, in other words, a freelance risk analyst, or are you working for a corporation? If you're working for a corporation, what is their revenue stream? Where they're making their money, and with currency? Show me the cash flows. Hypothetical, of course, right? Yes. But at some point when you get the job, this is going to be very real. So, and yes, don't forget to put it in your resume that you have practice with Owanda, hands-on. This is one of the objectives of this experiment. If you have yes, journal, yes, project, right? So yes, you're going to therefore put together some sort of, or a few, FX hedges, perhaps, or ways, or how, as a risk analyst, if you're a freelance type of a risk analyst, you're providing risk, and therefore you're providing techniques or suggestions for techniques on how to avoid it. You're therefore saying, look, this is a good level for the FX, the euro dollar again, the 1 year or the 6 months
Okay.
future, and therefore you would buy that future, and because you have a predetermined date sometime in the future for that transaction to materialize, you cover your client's FX risk. Go ahead, Dana, you had a question.
Okay, so then based on what I'm seeing at the end of each week, then based off the way it looks, like the hammers and everything that I'm looking at, then I can just say, hey, at the end of this week, I saw this, and this can be a risk.
Exactly.
All right.
At the end of 8 weeks, you write this in a piece of, in a page, 1 page, 2 page. So in other words, at the end of 8 weeks, you have the FX, the spreadsheet that says this is where the FX traded all this time. And these are the hedges that we proposed or we actually put or whatever, right? An analysis of that, not just, in other words, the spot rate, but also the future rate, what supposedly FX, so future rate is a little bit more difficult to get from Rwanda. Were you able to get it out of Rwanda?
I was having a little.
Yeah, you can do it, but you have to have a kind of sophisticated profile. All I'm asking in terms of this 8-week project is for you to give me some indication that you understand what's a future rate. And yes, you have some. So for instance, the Wall Street Journal gives such quotes, the Financial Times gives some quotes. If you Google out there, 5 day, 30 day, whatever, foreign currency futures, you're going to get some. And yes, if you go for the more esoteric futures, right, for that are not heavily traded, you may have to do a little bit more digging, but that of course gives you more marketing skills. So it's a trade-off. In terms of our project, even a simple screen print from the Wall Street Journal that says today, this is the 5 day, the 10 day, the 1 month, the whatever you're deciding to put, option or futures, that's sufficient for me, right? And provided that you explain with your words what exactly you're doing, right? In other words, you're buying this future. Why? Because a month from now, you know that at least you can convert, right? Back in with that original example, if you had bought a future for the euro that was close to 1.2, then in fact, yes, you would convert that 100 million euro to 120 million dollars, right? Not to $100 million, that's the spot price. So therefore, you would not be losing that based on fluctuation of the FX risk. Therefore, you're protecting against the FX risk. That's the idea. That's the project. Put it together as a narrative, and that's it. Any questions?
No, actually, that was all that I had questions on. Really, I felt like I wasn't doing it correctly, so I was just like, I'm gonna ask about it. But yeah, I'm good now.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem. And yes, I mean the idea is that you again, I need you to substantially be able to put this in your resume, right? So in other words, it's not just Professor Arias. Professor Arias, you're going to get the A. Don't worry about that much. Go for the knowledge. That's more important. So it's important. And specifically, technically, if you want, yes, to have that blimp in your resume that, yes, Wanda, you've handled this and you can explain it, right? And yes, even more important, the knowledge that you understand the FX currency market, which is, of course, the most sizable financial market. And ideally, I'm hoping that through doing this project, you're also going to understand how FX works with the other markets, interest rate, the stock markets, the bond market, all of this. You get at least a feeling of it. So that's the objectives.
Okay, fantastic. fantastic. Thank you so much.
No problem. So good luck.
Yes.
And, let's learn some FX trading. Very good.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.